Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies. I'm your host, Jason Marshall. Sorry there wasn't any shows last week. Had some personal stuff come up and just wasn't able to get anything out. I want to apologize to Jonathan Patterson for canceling on him last minute. Also want to apologize to him for not having him on the episode of The Life with Joe Young. The mics were kind of funky, and that's just how things go sometimes. But with me today is my monthly visitor, Mama Kate, who scared me because she was late. And I'm like, oh my God, my monthly visitor is late.
I know.
This is not good.
Yeah. I'm going to be in so much trouble. What do I tell my parents?
How you been?
Good. You know, it's summer vacation, so you can't finish thoughts or sentences because there's too many people around constantly. So you just kind of live from day to day. Like, what did I do yesterday? I don't know. I've blocked it out. I don't remember. There was yelling. There was stomping.
Yeah, kids will fight, man. When you got a house
it's not
full,
even me yelling.
I just got two.
Most of the time, I'm just keeping them from yelling at each other because I'm not the one yelling. They're yelling.
They'll drive you nuts, man. My two are just constantly picking on each other now. They have nothing else to do.
Yeah, they're bored. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to get involved in everything that is absolutely none of their business. You know, you'll be talking to one kid like, look, I know you weren't where you said you were. You said you're going to be at Brian's, but you were actually across the street at the other neighbors. So, you know, this is a problem. You get, you know, one kid will just pop out of nowhere like, yeah, you got to be where you said you'd be. That's how mom is. You're in trouble now. And so then the other kid's like, you shut up. I don't even care what you say. You should care because you're really messing up and you're making mom mad. I'm like, I'm not. You shut up.
I got this.
You got nothing to do with this. Just get out of here. I had to give them all away.
Since the last show, I went to the zoo with my youngest one. That was a lot of fun.
Oh.
Yeah, we rode a camel, got to pet stingrays. I love being around animals, so that was kind of cool.
I'm afraid of the stingrays ever since the crocodile hunter met us. Of all the things to get killed by, you know?
Well, I've never been around them. I've seen them in exhibits, and I think I've touched them before at wherever we were
swim
at.
by. Ooh, it feels rubbery.
Yeah. I think we went to Gatlinburg or something, but at the Columbus Zoo, they have the whole section where you just walk in, think you pay $5, and you can stand there all day and just put your hand in a pool and touch them.
I think at some point they're like, sir, we need you to stop touching the stingrays. And get your hand out of your pants.
What got me was they were all like flocking to where I was, and they would come up. And I think what it was, I just had my arm in the pool just waiting for them to come up.
Yeah.
And then I noticed when people would feed them, the people that work there, they would stick their hand in there. And I think most people just wait for them to come by and then try to touch them.
Yeah, like poke them. Like, poke it out. I got you.
But I was just sitting there with my hand in the water waiting for him to come up. And I think they thought that I was one of the people going to feed them.
Yeah. They're like, hey, he's probably got food.
Well, they would keep coming up with their mouths open.
Oh,
and for the first little bit, I'm like, man, I think that fucker's trying to bite me. I would just take my hand out of the water real quick. They're really weird, too, because they have this thing that like goes right in the middle of their mouth. So they got two sides. They can't just open the whole thing. I didn't know that. And that was kind of
weird. I think zoos are sad. There's just something about walking around looking at all these animals in their cages, you know, just like, look at me.
Well, they have different sections. I'm sure you've probably been there where they have like the Africa part and the Australia section and North America. Well, we went over to the Africa side. And all these lions are like sitting right in a line staring at the zebras. And this dude walks up and he's like, can they get to the zebras? I'm pretty sure they've thought this through. Yeah. But if they can, I'm glad I'm here. Because today's the
bring
day.
Zebras in the back to feed the lions with, you know?
Fuck all these kids. This is a learning
Dinner
experience.
time. Yeah. We just go to Africa and pick up some more. It's fine. They got lots there.
This is the biggest oversight on their part ever. We paid all this money for these zebras. They keep getting eaten by the lions. I don't understand. Oh, what was weird, though? I went by these, the leopards, and they had a dog in there with them. That didn't seem right at all. It's just hanging out by the door where, people walk in and out to feed the
That's
leopards.
Weird. I wonder what purpose the dog serves.
Oddly enough, I actually looked into it, and it's to keep people out of the exhibit. If the leopards aren't keeping you out, I don't think that dog's
You worry about the dog? Well, I was going to jump in there with the leopards, but they have a dog. So
You see that really friendly dog wagging its tail constantly? I don't think I'm ready
could you
for
get
that.
into the leopard exhibit? I mean, could you just
Yeah,
hop in?
but I don't know. Again, if you're willing to just jump into there, I don't think that dog's stopping you.
Yeah.
You're pretty gung-ho. I mean, you can get in. It would take you a little bit. I mean, it's not just super easy,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you seem pretty damn motivated to touch that leopard.
Yeah. My favorite's the penguins. I always like to watch the penguins while simultaneously feeling sorry for the penguins because, they've got 20 feet,
Yeah.
There's 100 penguins in there. I mean, it's more than 20 feet. It's probably 100 feet, and then a glass and some water, to dip in. They just jump in and hop out and jump in and hop out.
I didn't really feel sorry for him until you brought it up. But there was one thing where it was kind of depressing. It was an alligator or crocodile. I don't know the difference. But it was sitting outside of the pool with its tail still in.
Crocodiles have their teeth on the outside.
Oh, okay. I think this was an alligator then. And it's just sitting there. And it's got a flamingo feather stuck to its head because the exhibit's right next to it. And he just looked like he'd given up because he's got bird shit on him and it's dry where he'd just been sitting there so long. He just seemed very depressed.
Just let him poop on me. What's the difference?
It's just like seeing some really fat guy sitting in front of the couch with stains all over his shirt and he just given up. It's not even watching TV.
Food containers. Whoa.
He's just staring at the TV even though it's off. That's kind of how this thing was. I was like, Jesus, I understand why you've given up, but it is very clear that you have.
Yeah. Of course, I lived like that for a couple months this year, so I can't say much.
You know what snapped you out of that? Black Rifle Coffee. Owned and operated by Special Forces vets. They make strong coffee for strong people. Check them out. BlackRifleCoffee.com. Got that plug out of the way. You know what's funny is we've talked about sex on almost every single podcast since I've pulled out of the Adam and Eve affiliate program.
They hate it when you pull out.
Yeah.
It doesn't satisfy anybody.
I just thought, man, the irony that I'm just you know what? It doesn't really fit the show.
Yeah.
I feel
We're not going to be talking about sex.
I feel kind of sleazy just throwing it out there. I mean, I actually drink the coffee that I promote on here, but I've never really shopped at Adam and Eve. I feel like I'm just whoring myself out. Mm-hmm. And then every single show after that, it's just sex. Yeah, it just seemed kind of ironic. Talking about sex, have you or somebody you know played Pokemon Go?
What does that have to do with sex? Yeah, a couple of my kids have been playing it, and then my husband downloaded it so he could walk around with them and play it too.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm all for it, because if it gets kids outside walking around, great. I mean, warning, must still use common sense.
I didn't know it existed till I was at the zoo. And some girl just started walking away from her family, and her dad's very far away yelling at her what are you doing? She's like, I'm trying to catch this Pokemon. And I'm like, what the fuck?
At the zoo?
Because at this point, it just came out a couple of weeks ago. And at the point where we were at the zoo, it had only been days. So it wasn't this big thing everybody knew about. And being the first time hearing about it, there's just some, 20-some-year-old girl just trying to catch this Pokemon died. Just leave me alone. It was very odd.
Well, I have two camps of friends on Facebook. I have most of the friends who are like, yay, my kids are outside. This is great. Because something's happened in like the evolution of parenting. And I know for me, it's happened where the kids are inside. So I go outside where it used to be you sent your kids outside and you ruled the house. And I've just given up. I'm like, I'll just go outside. Just go outside. But to get them to go out and explore and meet other people, you know, met tons of people out gathering Pokemon too. But that doesn't mean you go into dangerous situations. That doesn't mean you walk off a fucking cliff. You know, look up every once in a while. It's still going to be there.
Yeah, you saw where those two guys went off the cliff, didn't you?
There's been a couple car accidents.
Crazy.
So then I have friends who are posting all that, like, this Pokemon Go is dangerous and a threat to the nation.
Oddly enough, speaking of zoos and Pokemon, there was somebody in the Toledo Zoo. They broke into the zoo at like 2:30 in the morning trying to catch a Pokemon. And they got arrested. I guess they were near the lion exhibit too, which might not be where you want to be, but.
I mean, there's Pokemon, they're all over the place. You really need that one.
It was very rare. I wish I knew more about them. I'd give you a specific example. I should have maybe tried to brush up on my Pokemon rarity thing. I don't know. I have no idea anything about it. I just know it's divided our country more than race relations. Because you go on Facebook and either people are super psyched about it or they hate everyone that ever downloaded the game.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. I've never seen people get so upset over an app on your phone where people are just like, people who play this are fucking retarded. It's
Angry
like,
Birds didn't cause this much division in the world, you know?
This just goes to show we could all be the same race. We'd still divide ourselves over something.
Exactly.
This is
White, black, it doesn't matter.
This is the most ridiculous thing to be divisive in the world, man. I don't understand.
Why are people so damn angry? You know?
I don't know.
You can't accept anything that's different than what you're interested in. Maybe, you know, I'm not interested in it. I don't play it, but that doesn't mean it upsets me that other people do, you know?
I'm surprised Pokemon Go Away isn't trending on Twitter. Something like a little hashtag. Yeah. Personally, I don't care. I mean, my oldest daughter plays it. She loves it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't affect my life at all. I'm happy people are happy going around. Yeah,
it's giving the kids something to do, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you're 40 or 50 and you're out there playing it. Go for it if it makes you happy. I don't know why so many people are mad.
You play video games in your dark bedroom, don't you? All hunkered down.
Yes, I do.
Shooting shit.
I don't know why you're getting personal.
And but you know, these same guys who do that are all like, "Where's grown men chasing Pokemon?"
I should be playing Call of Duty like a man.
Exactly, like a man. Why are they playing Mario Kart or Splatoon?
I could see if they're mad because people are cheating or something, because there's a couple of guys who they're using drones to catch them. They're just sitting in their house and they have their devices cloned and they're just going around on drones catching Pokemon, not even doing anything. And that's kind of shitty. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's really smart. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Should people be cheating playing Pokemon Go? Is it even cheating? I mean,
does it matter? I mean,
I don't know. I guess some people are upset about it. I don't give a shit.
Is there a ruler of Pokemon Go who's like the ultimate power of Pokemon Go, which there probably is, and somebody really wants to be the ultimate king of Pokemon? That's certainly dedication, I guess. If people can drive around in their cars, I guess people can.
Yeah, if you're dedicated enough to go buy a drone, figure out how to sync your cell phone with it and fly it around, and it'd have to take a lot on your part.
Yeah.
To hook a camera up and to do all I guess they're hooking cameras up. I don't know what they're doing, but it seems like a lot of effort just to play a game.
I know. Physicists in their spare time is what they're doing.
Yeah. There's a guy who's mad because his house was designated as a Pokemon gym.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it used to be a church. I read the article. There's like gyms and something else where you can go and like beef up your Pokemon character. And because his house used to be a church, they just decided that would be the gym, and now he's got people just parked outside his house all day doing whatever you do in a Pokemon gym. He just takes pictures of them and tweets them all
Probably
day.
doing steroids. Shooting up out there. Damn you, Pokemon!
There's one guy who's turned it into an entrepreneurial thing, though. He's in Massachusetts, and he went on Craigslist, and he's offering chauffeured Pokemon rides. You pay him $20 an hour.
Idea.
He just drives you around, and he's decked out his car to where it looks like a Pokemon. I'll have that on the Facebook page. I'm sure he knows where all the
spots are, so he just goes around and hits everywhere.
And that includes drinks and snacks. So it's kind of a good deal, really. You just get driven around.
I don't even get drinks and snacks here.
Yeah. We don't even have cookies. But
That's some bullshit.
I'll have a picture of that car on the Facebook page. That's Facebook/we don't have cookies. Go there and like it. That would be a good plan.
Just do it because Jason said so.
Yeah, why not?
The Pokemon wants you to.
I guess it's been downloaded like 10 million or so times within the first week it's been out. I don't know. I'll have to look into it maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I need another thing taking up my time, though. Not that I'm against it. It's just I got a lot of other stuff to do. I don't know. I get really involved in that kind of thing, especially when achievements are awarded out. Like I just have to get all the achievements and then I'll quit. And then they come out with new ones or something.
I have spent a ridiculous amount of time playing Candy Crush and I have crushed many a candy. I am proud and yet ashamed to say I've beat every board in Candy Crush. And when they release new boards, I want to be the first bitch to finish those two. And I have one friend who's right there with me. And even though, I never see her in person or talk to her on the phone or anything. Like, I know that both of us are just trying like hell to be the first one to finish these new boards. And it like takes over.
See, that's one reason I couldn't play it, because I knew it would get me.
Mm-hmm.
I get addicted to stuff real easy. I got to be careful of what I get myself into. That's one reason I don't go to casinos or any of that shit.
I'm the same way. That's why I have to have strict no snorting, no needles rules. You know, like, nothing I got to crush up, mix together, put in a syringe. Nothing like that. It is so stupid because it's not like, you know, you finish this board and you're like, hooray! And you look around and realize nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody cares at all that you are the ultimate queen of all Candy Crush.
They do have the thing you can post on Facebook, right?
And I have before, like, watch this, bitches! People are like, oh, okay.
Thanks.
Hide, feed.
People get upset when you invite them to play games, too. Mm-hmm. And I got to admit, I'm one of those people. If you send me a ton of invites, I get pretty sick of that really quick. But there's some people who just lash out and have to make Facebook posts about how they really hate people just inviting them all the time. I haven't seen them lately as much.
No, I don't send invites, and I usually just ignore. I don't pay attention. I don't get upset. I don't care.
Yeah.
I know it's just a list that your thing generates, you know, and it's like send. And if you put it on automatic, it'll just send everything, you know, and you have no control over it. So
I think they put something where you can block people.
Yeah, you can block the game itself, so that, you know, the game, nothing from the game will show up on your. I
get on Facebook just to kind of watch what everybody else is doing, but I don't know a whole lot about.
We all know you're a stalker, Jason. You want to know what's going on.
There was some interesting stuff
going on.
There was some interesting stuff happening the last couple of days. We won't bring that up, but
I know, you know, and
we were talking about it earlier, and some of the stuff people post, man.
Oh yeah, all my friends from high school and stuff, because I went to a Catholic school, and we weren't a class of partiers, you know, we all went to college, and now they just, you know, it's just a bunch of people running marathons, how much they ran that day, pictures of the kids in the park. And I was so jealous because my husband went to public school and he's got all kinds of crazy drama going on his feed. And I'm like, where do you get these people? I'm tired. I mean, I just feel bad when I read my posts, but your posts, and just, it really makes me feel good about my life.
I had this friend. He would always post these really bipolar posts where he's just like, I can't get anybody to give me a ride in town. I really need, gas for my lawnmower. And this just shows how nobody cares about me. And then 10 minutes later, he's talking about how delicious this milk he was and how he's enjoying his time sitting on the front porch. And then about an hour goes by and it's some depressing meme with Bugs Bunny all sad. My favorite post was he just posted some depressing shit. And then 10 minutes later, in all capital letters, I love these Cracker Jacks.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love Cracker Jacks? That goes without saying.
just the simplicity of the post and the all caps. And then it just came after he was depressed for hours.
He's just trying to bring himself back around. I have a girl that I'm friends with on Facebook, and we went to the same high school, and she moves. Like, I know that I don't ever want to encourage friendship between us in real life because she moves like every 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
She's always asking people to help her move. Like, first of all, there's something wrong in your life where you need to move that much. And second of all, why would anybody help you move again, ever?
Yeah, one time's a lot to ask from anybody because nobody wants to help anybody move.
Well, it's weird when people that you're not really friends with ask you to move. My husband had that happen. The guy at work was like, so you're going to help me move Saturday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're not even friends with this guy. Why would you go help him move? Why would he think you would help him move? I don't understand it.
There was a girl that I was friends with a long time ago at my old job, and we reconnected on Facebook, talked a couple of times, but nothing big. And then one day she sent me a message asking if I'd help her move. And I was just like, man, I don't know. And she said, well, there'll be beer and pizza. And I'm like, yeah, I'll think about it.
Yeah, beer and pizza.
Well, the time comes to help her move. And I forget what was going on, but
yeah,
I wasn't there to help her move. So I'm trying to make her feel like I'm still a good guy, even though I blew her off. And I sent a message saying, hey, sorry I wasn't there to help you move, blah, blah, blah. And she sent a message saying, yeah, nobody showed up, so I'm doing it next weekend if you want to help. And I thought, fuck. I was trying to lie to you and make it look like I'm a good guy.
Yeah, like I'm not a dick.
Now I got to figure out how to lie again or just unfriend you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't generally unfriend people. Like, I have a few people that sometimes, like, I read their posts and I start to comment and I'm like, no, there's no point. It's always like crazy conservatives who post just ridiculous things.
I ran into a woman like that a few days ago. It was on somebody else's post. So I didn't want to say anything because I don't know how close that person is with the person who posted. But I think it was either a racial issue or about guns or something. And this person just kept sticking up saying, whoever doesn't believe in whatever cause it was is a communist Democrat and all this stuff. and the funny part was the person she was arguing with was trying to tell her, like, look, I've never voted Democrat in my life. I'm a Republican. I have a gun right now. And like all this stuff. And she wasn't hearing that.
Yeah, she didn't want to hear that. No, she just wanted to continue with her rant.
And then she asked him, he said that her tagging him constantly in comments was harassment. And she said, well, I want you to look up the law about that. And I want you to give me the code and I forget what the other part was, but she wanted like specifics of the law.
Yeah.
And
prove it.
Yeah. Well, then he said something about how he should just look up the property records and then come over and have a talk face to face. She's like, I'm calling the police. And it's like, well, you told him to look shit up on the internet. Now you're mad he's doing it, but in a way you don't want him to.
Yeah.
I mean, you started this shit. You wouldn't let it go.
I have one friend on Facebook where I know that if she ever agrees with me on anything, then I must be completely wrong. I'm like, please. And I think about unfriending people and I'm just like, I can't surround myself with my own ideals. What do you ever learn or take away from that? But at the same time, like, it's hard to withhold the anger and you're like, you're so stupid.
What I hate is those people who get on there and say, if you don't agree with me on whatever specific issue, unfriend yourself. And it's like, I'm just going to unfriend you because you're a closed-minded asshole.
Oh, yeah.
I had a girl who said that about Donald Trump.
Mm.
I'm not sitting here cheerleading Donald Trump, but the fact that you just can't accept anybody else's opinion, but you're so open-minded,
Yeah.
I'm like, just go fuck yourself. And I had people on the other end of the spectrum too. Where
Yeah.
I just don't like it when people are telling people to unfriend them.
Yeah.
Because if you're really on that side of the issue, the people that you're talking about unfriending is the people you need to reach out to the most.
Yeah.
Because the other people are already on your
Yeah, they
side.
already
So
agree
how are
with
you
you,
growing
yes.
this?
Exactly. And that's why you can't insulate yourself with just people who agree with you all the time.
Yeah. It's weird. I think it's just because they're on Facebook behind a computer. They can just...
It really does give people a sense of, I can say whatever and there'll be no ramifications.
Because you can't just go to Walmart and tell people to get the fuck out of your aisle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not how life works. But on Facebook, you can do whatever you want. And the funny part is, you're going to run into that person somewhere in some comment because
always.
you have mutual friends. It's not like you can just run away from them and keep that world outside of yours. It's always going to intersect somehow.
What drives me crazy is when people like they get divorced and they don't like say anything, like make any announcement, like suddenly they have a picture of them with some other person. And then you're like, what the fuck happened?
That happened to a couple of my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's mind blowing.
So then I got to start calling people and looking through people's posts. Like, are they getting divorced? Are they divorced? What happened? I don't know.
Because on one hand, you got to hand it to them for being able to hold back and not publicly lash out or something. But on the other hand, it's like, well, you could tell somebody before you post a picture of you with that guy in Hawaii. I mean,
I know, exactly. Maybe they're just friends. They're like, this hand seems a little low to be on the friend zone. They're a little close to be brother and sister.
Yeah, that's funny you brought that up because that just happened like 2 weeks ago. And I was really shocked.
So I called my sister and I'm like, is she getting divorced? What's going on? Because this picture is not her husband. And I'd already spent a half hour going back through a post to see the last time that she mentioned her husband, which was way back in September. And my sister's like, yeah, they got divorced this fall. Don't you don't remember hearing that? I'm sure I told you that. Well, I was so drugged up this fall. I can't possibly remember what else was going on in the world, but I'm sure you did. Then I'm so far out of the loop. I'm like, are you kidding? They've been divorced since October and I've missed the whole thing. In some ways, I think it's harder for us to accept people because my cousin just is in the middle of getting a divorce. And it's like one day you see them and they're together and fine. And then the next time you see them, they're like, yeah, we're getting divorced. Then the next time you see them, like they've split. The next time you see them, they hate each other, but they live with the evolution every day. You just see like loving couple, split. Hate each other. So it's like harder for us to come to terms with because we don't see
that's a good point.
That evolution, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just never know what happens behind closed doors.
You don't.
I mean, I guess you do now that there's Facebook. But
it just depends on
who the person is.
Yeah, how much they want to share.
Yeah. I have one friend who's on Facebook and she's always angry. Always. And every time I see her post, it's one of those things where either I want to just sickeningly look at somebody and see how bad their life is so I feel better about myself, or I just keep scrolling. It's one of the two. Yeah. There was one time where she went to some concert and I thought, oh, okay, well, this has to end badly because it's over a paragraph. So let's see where this goes. And she got mad because they made some comment between songs about Hillary Clinton or something. And then there was another one where she went to eat some restaurant in a small town. Mm-hmm. And she went by herself. And she was mad that these guys kept looking at her. And she was like, women can go out to eat by themselves too. And just, talking about how sexist they were. And it's like, you don't always have to go to anger. Like, they could either think, oh, who's this person? Or, you know, she looks interesting, or maybe they thought you looked like somebody they knew. Or, you know what I mean? You don't have to just constantly go to fuck these people.
Well, I have a thing where I just zone out, especially if I'm not with somebody else. You know, I'll be thinking about something and I'm just staring off into space. But if somebody's in my line of sight, like, oh, what are you staring at me for? I'm like, I'm sorry, I was not looking at you at all. I'm just thinking, you know, in your direction. But that can lead to some shit.
Yeah. Well,
somebody takes that the wrong way.
I do that too. I'm really bad at restaurants because I just zone out. And next thing you know, I'm just looking at some table for way too long.
You're like, how long have I been doing this?
You see them talking to each other, staring back at you angrily. You're like, fuck, man, I'm really sorry. You just kind of want to, like, at least give their table a tip for the waiter or something for the trouble. By the same
token, my brother and my husband and I went out to dinner together. There were 3 drunk guys at a table behind us, and they started talking shit about my brother and his long hair, like, loudly, right beside us. Like, what?
That's weird.
Do you think we can't hear you? You know? Sorry.
You're fine.
Choked up my own spit.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it. Anyway.
We'll put that on the Best of Mama Kate episode. I have some of those coming up. I was going to talk about that on the July 29th show, but I guess I'll say it now because this week went the way it did. I thought what I should do is just get clips of the most reoccurring guests and just put best of episodes out when I can't have something. And that that outro that nobody heard of you choking will probably be on there as a blooper.
I hope you got the one where I burped really. I mean, it was a quality burp.
I do have that on my computer somewhere because I have all the regular files and then I have the edited version. So I keep it all.
Keep it all.
For blackmail purposes.
I don't get embarrassed. I don't waste my time on it.
I wish I was more like that because you're right. There really isn't any point. And a lot of times you get way more embarrassed than anybody cares.
Yeah, most people don't notice. That's why I try to tell my daughter. I'm like, do you pay attention to what somebody wears every day? Could you tell me what the lady in the grocery was wearing yesterday? She's like, well, I'm like, that's how much attention everybody else is paying to you. Like,
I really think people put too much into that for the most part. There's some times where if you're at Shoney's and you shit yourself, okay, you might want to have some humility in that moment.
I went to the store and there was this woman there and I walked past her down the aisle and I didn't pay any attention to what she looked like or anything. And then I'm getting in line paying and she comes up behind me and she was like, well, this just shows me that I should be dressed properly before I go to the store. And I'm just getting ready to go get my hair done. So I didn't really, put makeup on or get ready or anything. I'm like, who the fuck are you telling this to? Did I give you some indication that I was disapproving? I didn't even pay attention until you pointed it out, but you do kind of look like shit. So yeah, it's if it make you feel better. But I don't know why. I just have a thing where people just want to confide in me.
I was trying to show my kid how, maybe this isn't the best lesson. I was going to say how little of a fuck you should give. I have some clippers at home and I was shaving my head and I just put a streak right down the middle and 2 on the side. And she thought it was hilarious. She wanted me to go somewhere looking like that. And I'm like, I don't care. And I like drug her out with me to check the mail and stuff. And I would have taken her to Walmart. She didn't want to go for that.
She wants you to go out. She doesn't want to go out with you.
Exactly. And that was the lesson. Yeah. You can't expect me to go somewhere and then you don't want to go with me because you're embarrassed. I'm the one everybody's looking at. Exactly. I'm going to be on the people of Walmart, not you. Yeah. You're going to be fine. What was funny was I finished shaving because she texted my wife telling her how stupid I looked and sending her pictures. So I can't just look this way till my wife comes home because she already has a heads up. So she's not going to think it's funny. So I just shaved the rest of my head except for the small patch on the left side of my head. And when she pulled in from work, I went outside and I brought the cat with me as a distraction.
Yeah.
So she would have something else to look at. And I brought it up and I'm like, hey, and I'm telling her about how my day was and she's petting the cat. And I turn around to walk in the house and she sees this spot on the back of my head. And of course she thinks I'm an idiot who just missed it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was great.
Like, no, it's a new style.
I was going to wear it that way to the radio show, but stuff came up and I didn't make it. But
see, I'll let my youngest do my makeup, and then I'll forget that I let him do my makeup, and I'll go to Speedway or something, and I'll come back home, and my daughter will be like, you just went to Speedway, you still have makeup on. I'm like, oh well. I don't care. At least they have something to talk about tonight. I just made their evening just a little bit more interesting.
I did that when my little girl painted my nails, and I didn't realize it till I was handing the cashier money. I was like, oh shit, my nails are painted. I've been out all day.
I just like to have pretty pink nails. You got a problem with that?
That was not a good feeling.
But do you feel like you have to tell them, like explain to them why, or do you just let it go?
I just got the hell out of there. Yeah, I just let it go because they don't care.
No, they don't care. There's something with me when I get to a checkout that I feel like I have to talk to the cashier. Like, there's just something about being with a stranger in absolute silence that I feel just compelled to keep talking. And my kid's always like, do you have to talk to everybody? I'm like, yes, it's a sickness. I don't know. I can't just stand there and be quiet, They'll like, be scanning stuff and I'll be like, yeah, those look delicious. I just had to buy them. And they're like, they don't care.
I just like to let it be uncomfortable and just sit in it for a minute.
Just stare at them.
Which one of us is going to break?
Yeah.
We both know it's awkward. We both know it's weird. We're looking at each other.
Well, I mean, I wonder if it is awkward for them because, you would think after doing it for a while, it'd just be normal and they don't care. What if they prefer people talk or people not talk to them?
When I worked at the bank, I wanted people to talk just because it helped my day go along. It wasn't the best since I'm counting money and I need to keep records of the shit.
Yeah, exactly. That was always my problem. I worked at a bank for 6 months and then discovered people get really angry when you won't give them their money. And it's just not cool at all.
Oh, the worst was I always try to joke around with people and I'm always talking to people. And this dude came through my line. He wanted a certain amount of money and he said he needed it because he's going to the funeral home. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm going there later. Just fucking around. And he was like, oh, what are you going there for? And I'm like, I was just bullshitting.
I would have been like my aunt.
And he was like, oh, okay. And I don't know why it never occurred to me that the reason he's going is somebody may have died.
Yeah.
But after he left, I'm telling the girl next to me about, oh, wasn't this funny? Which, hindsight, it wasn't. Neither one of us laughed when I said it.
Why would it be funny, Jason?
I don't know.
Why would it be funny?
She informed me his wife just died, which made it exponentially less funny.
He just said he's coming to the bank to get money to go to the funeral home. And Jason's like, we're probably having a stripper party there or something.
I know I can make a joke out of this. Let's see what we got. I'm going there later. Huh? We having fun yet?
But I'm bummed.
Why? Don't know.
That's the worst part is that you gave up on it so soon. I mean, why didn't you at least carry through with it? Because then he's just leaving. Like, what kind of dick pretends he's going to a funeral home? What kind of asshole's like, oh yeah?
Oh my God. Yeah, I was really young at the time, and that was one of the dumbest things. Oh my God. I almost forgot I even had that job till I told that story.
Yeah, I didn't make a career out of the bank. That's for damn sure. I was like, this is horrible.
It was one of my favorite jobs though, because I couldn't be late to work. Like I had to be there at 8, but as long as you were there by 8:20, no one cared. And it was like a a technical thing too. Like you could swipe in at 8:10 and according to the whole banking system, you're still not late.
Yeah.
So they actually put it into their time system and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And you got your birthday off, and when Christmas time came, they gave you a day off to go Christmas shopping.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah, it was a good job.
I don't know what bank you worked for. That bank I worked for didn't do that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I love that place.
You're not still in the banking biz, so
No.
you clearly lost that job somehow.
Yeah, I partied way too much back in the day. I was out drinking till like 4 o'clock, and I had to be there at...
So when you quit, are you just a not shower-upper? Like you just stop showing up? Or are you a dramatic quitter? Because I'm a dramatic quitter.
I wanted to be there. I just had a very serious alcohol problem. I remember calling the next day, and it's like 5 minutes till they're supposed to close. I just woke up, and I call it. I'm like, "Hi, this is the guy that got fired today. I want to know what to do with my keys."
Yeah.
They told me just bring him in Monday. So that's how that job ended. wasn't much build up to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you dramatically quit, huh?
Well, when I was 17, I worked at McDonald's for 2 years. So I guess I would have been 18. I got mad at the manager. I was running drive-thru and I was pissed off, and she came and said something to me, and I threw my Big Mac at her and told her I was out of there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's a statement.
You know, they generally rehire people back, but I don't think there was much chance I was getting rehired after you assault someone with a Big Mac. Yeah, I quit a play once. I yelled at the director, told him to go fuck himself, and left. Like 3 days, I think, before the show.
Wow.
And so then the next year, when auditions came for the next musical, he was the musical director. So needless to say, I wasn't getting cast. So I've burned a lot of bridges over the years. But I've taken great strides.
Well, that's good. Hopefully you don't quit the podcast. I don't know what you would throw at me.
There's a lot of things here I could throw. No.
That's my problem.
But see, those were my pre-pot smoking days, like pretty much.
You're mellow now.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't have the energy to get angry anymore. Like, I don't care. Very Buddhist, you know, like imagine something is already broken, you know, and appreciate that it's not. That's like how my life is, because eventually it's all going to fall apart.
Well, that's the perfect segue, because there was a guy in Australia who called the police on his dad for burning his marijuana plants. And just so you know, it's still illegal in Australia.
That takes some balls.
Yeah. He got an argument with his dad. His dad threw him in a bonfire.
Mm.
And the police showed up, and there wasn't anything they could do to the guy because the evidence was already burned up. So they
what did he think was gonna like happen
I don't
out
know.
of that? I mean, if anything, maybe you have a civil lawsuit. Maybe you could get some money. They think his dad was gonna come arrest him.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a very good plan on that guy's part. Yeah. Just fuck you, Dad. Calling the cops on my illegal activity that you fucked up. Like I said, not a very good plan, but...
Yeah. Here's a better plan. Don't grow weed in your parents' house.
But that pot story is a gateway story to the next one, where a guy left a bag of Coke on a self-scanning checkout at a grocery store.
That's pretty careless.
Especially when you got people waiting behind you, and that's how you got caught.
Was he like, you know what? It was a rough shopping trip. I'm just going to snort a few lines. I'll be ready to go.
In my head, I think what he did was probably get money out of his pocket and just sort of left it there and thought, well, I'll obviously pick it up in a minute, and didn't. Or I don't know how you could not know that it's there, because I don't know. I guess they're somewhat high where you scan them. I mean, it's not really, maybe it's pocket level. I don't know. I don't know if there's a a law on how high they have to be.
That's an expensive mistake. Did he call back looking for it? Was he like, hey, did somebody turn in a bag of cocaine? I know it looks like cocaine, but it was actually just a baggie of baking powder.
That's why I came to the store. I ran out, was trying to fill my baking powder baggie up.
Yeah. I'd like to have a little extra on me because you never know when there's going to be a baking powder emergency. Quick, sir, do you have any baking powder? Yes, I do. I've never done coke. I don't need speed. I like to smoke pot to calm me down. I don't need things to speed me up.
Yeah, I don't need wound up at all.
No, my brain's always like, pachoo, 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 pachoo.
And those people always seem angrier than anything. Like, it doesn't seem like it works out so well. You might have more energy, but you seem like a really big
but
asshole.
you just more energy to be angry.
I was playing cards with my cousin, and he was all fucked up on a bunch of speed. And he got mad that I didn't know how to play cards because I'm just not a big cards guy. And it was a normal game. I don't know if it was poker or something else, but I mean, I just don't know how to play that stuff. And he got mad at me and like wanted to beat my ass. And he was telling me that I need to go to jail because if I went to jail, I'd learn how to play cards real quick. Okay.
That's a good reason to go to jail for some card sharp skills.
Or I could just go online.
Yeah, just play online rummy. And it'll teach me too.
I'm sure there's plenty of videos on YouTube without going to jail. That was a very weird suggestion. Like, you know what you need to do? You want to learn how to play cards? Go to jail.
Go to jail.
Montgomery County, bitch.
Well, call them up. I'm ready right now. Do I need to pack anything?
Don't go to Dark County. They don't know how to play gin rummy in Dark County. But you go to Montgomery
County. That's where the serious
best rummy players in the state right there.
Some serious commissary money going throw down on that table.
A lot of people in the big time poker leagues, former Montgomery County prisoners. Oh, shit. Well, we got a question from last week's guest. I usually do it after the segments. We're not having segments this week. So, and if you're wondering who last week's guest was, go listen. Whoa.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to. If you're wondering who last week's guest was, go listen to last week's show. Question is, in your opinion, who's the better drummer, Jimi Hendrix or John Lennon?
Neither one of those are drummers.
Yeah. We're waiting for an answer.
Well,
I would think it would have to be, well, I don't know. I was going to say John Lennon because I think he plays more than one instrument and is kind of
he's dead
musically
now.
gifted. Well, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
they're both dead,
yeah.
so up in heaven they could be equally as good playing drums. Maybe they play together. We don't know.
Never know.
I'd probably go with Jimi Hendrix.
They're up in heaven forming a Rolling Stones cover band. I would love to see a parody video. Oh, shit.
Or a Coldplay cover band.
Well, last thing we're going to get into is this week's Dumbass of the Year. I had one set up for last week. Let me try to find him. We'll give him an honorable mention because if there was there was going to be a show last week until like an hour before the show. This guy was going to win for the third time in a row.
Oops.
It's the Brazilian activist, one more time, who put his head in a bin of snakes and tarantulas. Looking at the picture I saw, I thought, well, this isn't a big deal. And then I watched the video and he put his head in, but then he turned it upside down and actually had it resting on his shoulders and had it there for a lot longer than I would and then took it off.
What kind of snakes and spiders were they?
Well, the spiders were tarantulas. I'm not sure what kind of snakes there were, but, you know, he's really raising that awareness on the rainforest. But maybe he is, because this is the third time I brought the guy up. I don't know. I really wish I could bring him onto the Life or somewhere where he could call in.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk to this guy now. This is the third time I've talked about him on the show. No one's ever been nominated for this week's Dumbass of the Year as many times as that guy. So I really want to see why he keeps doing this. I guess it's working because we've talked about it 3 times. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's getting attention.
Yeah.
So
Well, kudos to you, dude. You fooled me. Because I thought you were a dumbass, and now I realize that your plan's working. As stupid as it is. I mean, it looks like there's a lot better ways to go about it, but...
I called into work one time because there was a snake in my basement, and there was no way in hell I was going down the basement to get my clothes out of the dryer. Until somebody was coming to my house and getting that snake out of the basement. So my little brother, who was like 7 years younger than me at the time, he was like 11, went downstairs and got this snake out of the basement.
Me and my father-in-law were working on the plumbing, and it's down in the cellar. We were down there, and all of a sudden he like jumps back and gets behind my daughter, my little one. Yeah. And I'm just like, what? And he points at the wall, and there's a snake in the rocks on my wall.
Oh, wow. But I think it's funny that he thought your daughter would protect him. Like, get behind the little girl.
I thought he was just goofing around because he got behind a small child. But,
it's where his instincts are.
In fairness, that small child was behind me, too. So, I don't know. Maybe he just wanted a dual layer. And something to throw.
But still, you don't throw the little girl at the snake.
I'm wondering if he wouldn't. I mean, there had to be a reason. I wasn't expecting a snake to be on the wall either. So it took me a minute for my eyes to actually see the snake there because it's one of them. It's kind of like a mirage. It's like, well, that can't really be. I had to rub my eyes real quick, maybe go get some fresh air, come back, see if it's still there. But this week's Dumbass of the Year is a Tennessee woman who melted her bathtub trying to make brisket. Let that sink in for a minute. That's a real person living among us if you live in America.
She was cooking a brisket in the bathtub.
Yeah. She got all the stuff she needed, had it all sitting in the bathtub. Problem was, her bathtub's fiberglass.
That's
because at first I'm like, man, that's got to be a hot ass fire. Because all my bathtubs have ever been cast iron. Mm-hmm. So I never really thought about it until I started reading more into the story. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you fucking idiot.
Was she making a bunch of brisket? Like, was there a big occasion that she was preparing for? She's like, I got to make like a bathtub full of brisket. I know. How would you even would you build a fire around the fiberglass tub? Because at least if you were in like a clawfoot tub, you could build like under the tub. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Fire crews say that she lit a wood-burning grill inside her bathtub and placed the meat on a wire rack across the rim where the heat melted through the tub's fiberglass exterior. So, I don't know.
Was her oven broke? I just don't understand what makes you think the bathtub. That's where I need to cook my brisket.
I kind of wish it wouldn't have melted.
Fucking oven. I mean, like all the way.
I wish it would have just been fucked up enough to where she could still use it, but she has to explain it every time somebody uses the bathroom in her house for the first time. Like, what happened to your bathtub?
I was trying to cook a brisket. What?
And hopefully she would try to lie about it and come up with something just equally as absurd. Like, well, one day I had a candle lit. Like, none of this makes sense. You were in the bathtub and the candle melted it, but there's water in there. Because obviously she's not the smartest person, so the lie has to be good.
Her friends are, either that was like a warning thing to her family where they're like, oh, maybe grandma shouldn't be living by herself anymore. Or this is like something so typical that everybody was like, that sounds like Jeannie.
Yeah, the fire department said they've never seen anything like that. It was a first.
I guess not.
Trying to look, it doesn't say how old she is, but that would be interesting to know because if she's anywhere over 70, you might want to have her checked. I mean, I'm not trying to be ageist or anything. It's just,
things can break down. It could be a warning sign. You know, look back on it later like, the brisket, that should have been a warning. You know?
Well, guys, thanks for taking time to listen. Really appreciate it. Again, I'm really sorry there wasn't a show last week. It was somewhat unavoidable. But go to the website, wedon'thavecookies.com. Click on that Amazon link, do some shopping. Doesn't cost you any more. I get a few bucks out of it. And I'll talk to you guys Thursday.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review. Pachoo, 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 pachoo.